can reach to the individuals, and sometimes the threat is not just you, but probably the weakest link in the family who may not be knowing how to utilize their phone very effectively. And the last but not least is, how do we ensure that the law enforcement associations are getting the right support from the council? In fact, if I were to ask CP sir, he might ask me to put this bullet to the top, because that is exactly the opportunity we are looking at on how do we bring all of this together. Before I hand over to Abhishek, who is going to run you through some of the details along with Ram, I just wanted to close with a comment that when it's first of the kind, I'm sure it's going to take some time to really shape a model like this. But however, we firmly believe that, as Steve Jobs always said, if we have the passion, we can get it done. And all we need is the right kind of vision to be able to. We already have the right vision, and this particular organization and the city has already put so many firsts in place. As a part of the SCSC organization, I am personally confident that the council and the extended council members will bring a complete different perspectives around how we can address this effectively. I can see that with many of our council members from different cities traveling just to be a part of this event today. So having said that, over to you, Abhishek and Ram, to cover the updates next.
Good afternoon. So my name is Abhishek, and we have Ram with me here. So while CP sir and Ramesh has set the stage and the context, we'll take you through a little more details. But before that, October is a great. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gaurav Kataria. I am the Chief Digital and Information Officer at ITC. I've been involved with SCSC for over 7 years now, and contributing, volunteering, in helping this cause. So welcome everybody. Today, one of the reasons why we've gathered here is to actually bring together two or three very important actors, which is the law enforcement, which is the industry body, as well as the academia and the other support organizations, that support us today to combat and to work together to make sure that we can all combat the threat of cybersecurity that prevails today in the industry. And it is only growing, right? It could be a threat against the nation at large, it could be a threat against the state, against industry, or even individuals, which is ourselves and our families. So it's a really auspicious occasion from that perspective, because this is the first of its kind in the country where there is a law enforcement CISO council which is sort of being set up with the initiative of the Telangana state, and this is sort of the first of its kind that's been set up. So with that, I want to welcome our esteemed dignitaries who are here. So DGP Anjani Kumar sir, IPS, Principal Secretary Jayesh Ranjan sir, CP Stephen Raghavendra sir, and the General Secretary of the SCSC Ramesh Kaza, and everybody else from the law enforcement, as well as colleagues and members of the industry and the academia, and members of the press. What we'll start with is a very quick opening note from CP sir. So I'll request CP sir to come on stage and set the context of why the Law Enforcement CISO Council is really critical, and how this is a step in the right direction and the first of its kind in the country. So.
Esteemed colleagues, renowned industry leaders, dedicated members of law enforcement fraternity and valued guests, thank you for convening today as we embark on a significant journey towards strengthening our cybersecurity framework. First of all, I would like to thank the government of Telangana for the pioneering many game-changing initiatives for the industry and law enforcement, and for their continued support and importance given to cyber, which includes the recent launch of Telangana State Cyber Security Bureau. With a disconcerting 300% surge in the cyber incidents over the past year, we find ourselves at a crucial juncture needing to defend our digital space. Across the government orgs, critical infrastructure, industry, including vulnerable MSMEs, which are repeatedly besieged by threats and are ill-equipped to handle compared to the larger MNCs. The recent targeted attacks on government and critical infrastructure institutions during the G20 event Delhi goes to highlight the imminent need to institutionalize the fight against cyber threats. But why this and why now? Of late, we have been receiving various requests from industry, MSMEs for the support to mitigate cyber incidents, legal and compliance help, and investigation support. While we understand the threat scenario, we are not fully equipped to handle these, and there is a dire need to have a platform for industry, by the industry, which can enable us to enable you. In this regard, today we are launching the first law enforcement CISO Council. In fact, I'm happy to announce that it's the first of its kind in the entire country. I must candidly admit we stand at the dawn of this endeavor. Our resolve is unbreakable and unwavering, but our capabilities are limited and will require collective and collaborative efforts in our fight against cyber crimes and threats. Every cybersecurity breach has an imminent criminality in it, and every cyber attack has an element of cyber crime in it. The cyber crimes and threats are intertwined with each other. Hence, your expertise, insights, and support are pivotal to co-creating a fortified cyber security ecosystem where it is not only important to defend and mitigate the threats, but also equally important to bring the criminals to justice by investigation and prosecution. So what does this collective endeavor mean for the industry leaders and CISOs joining hands with us in this journey? Firstly, a reduced attack surface. Our proactive and relentless pursuit of cyber criminals will mean a palpable, reduced risk and frequency of cyber attacks on your digital assets. Secondly, enhanced resilience. Your participative involvement will contribute and benefit the society at large from the shared vision, wisdom, fostering a collective enhancement of our cybersecurity capabilities and posture. Likewise, the real-time threat intel sharing, then leveraging the collective insights into evolving legal and regulatory frameworks, assuring that our operations are always in sync with compliance requisites, that is the legal and regulatory guidance. Similarly, exploring and forging partnerships, then melding public and private proficiencies towards mutually beneficial cyber security outcomes, that is opportunity for private and public partnerships. And moreover, it is a platform for networking and learning. Last but not the least, the most important of all is the incident response support. Avail and contribute towards a pool of expertise and resources during the critical cyber incidents so that we would minimize disruptions and enable swift recovery to operational normalcy. The data derived from our collaborative efforts and incident reporting will be our guiding star, crafting our strategy that's as dynamic and robust as the cyber security threats we face. I hereby urge you all to start reporting to us at 1930, where we assure that we will handle them professionally and discreetly, and further coordinate with the IT department and certain as required. JS sir, we look forward for your guidance to further institutionalize this CISO council that we are going to launch today. In closing, our path is undoubtedly challenging, but our collective resolve, experience, and unity will forge a future where our digital realms are secure, resilient, and prosperous. With this initiative, it is like a dream come true for us, where we envision a fully operationalized both cybersecurity and cybercrime domains effectively on par with each other. We profusely thank our DG Anjani Kumar sir for unwavering and proactive support in initiatives that we take up. Thank you all for standing along with us as we sculpt a digital future that is securely within our control. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, sir. Now I'll request Ramesh to come on stage and run the audience through the objectives and the mission of the CISO Council.
Okay, good afternoon. Quite frankly, this slide is so self-explanatory when you look at this data. While I'm not going to read line by line, there is an underlying message here that the cyber crimes at $8 trillion actually is going to be listed there, just below the United States and China's overall GDP. And this is just today. And what we need to be probably looking into for the future is how things are going to be if we cannot come together collectively. However, whether it's ransomware or you're talking about the fraud that happens to the individuals or to the corporates, especially the MSMEs, there are only few being reported today and many are not even being reported. In many ways, that picture that you're seeing on the screen is a simple message that the impact this particular challenge or the problem can create is beyond even our imagination. And in a way, the creation of the council is also stemmed from what is really happening in the market today. Let's also look at how this impact is being distributed across multiple regions. And if you can go to the next slide for me. You might be wondering why India is only showing a small percentage out of the entire list. That's primarily because whatever is officially reported is what gets into the report. So I'm sure all of you can realize the fact that many a times we don't even report the information and it doesn't even get noticed here. But if you look at it, the impact that you're probably seeing is an attack mostly on Korea, Taiwan, in the Asia region. And you can also notice that as soon as something radically happens, you just heard from our CP sir that when the G20 summit happened, there were enough attacks on the government organizations and other. And the same way, once the Ukraine war started, the impact that happened on many of those organizations within Ukraine has also gone up tremendously. If you notice on this slide, on the right side, it has a breakup of which particular organizations were getting impacted more. It could be educational institutions, the government bodies, or most likely the financial services companies, what we typically call as the banking, financial services, and the insurance companies, which are probably the 40 or the 50 out of the 100 job seekers across the world. Now, you have noticed some of the problems with the data that we are showing on the screen, but just realize the fact that between the government of Telangana, the Telangana Cyber Bureau that got created very recently, and with the collaboration of Cyberabad Security Council, which is a non-profit organization that works on focused safety-related activities in partnership with the law enforcement officials, the Telangana State Police Center for Excellence on Cyber Security, TSPCC, has formed. And in fact, for those who are probably eager to see, that Center of Excellence is right next to this building. There's a lot of activities happening there. We felt there is a need for bringing all of them together to the platform of the CISO Council. The Corporate Information Security Officer, that is what CISO is meant for. The CISO councils are very commonly run in large companies. Hyderabad boasts getting almost close to 1 million people in IT and IT-enabled services operating from here. And it's also the place, you all know very well, that we have got the technology giants like Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Oracle, to large banking financial services companies including HSBC, Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase, and many other, Wells Fargo, and many other large financial services operating from here. We started to realize that there is an excellent opportunity to tap on that particular talent which is already existing in the city. However, you also know very well that cyber problems are not just limited to a city or to an area. That means we have to tap on that knowledge across the country. That's the idea of creating the CISO Council. Hopefully you're on the next slide for me. Our primary focus and vision is to create a CISO Council that can help create a better safety around where we are operating today. Now, how do we do that? How do we bring that together? Is unless we have a clear objective, we cannot achieve, because this is an ocean of challenge and we cannot get there overnight. That means we have to identify where are the major threats and then see if we can get that council to focus on. The formation of the council just happened very recently. We had a workshop to look at where are the various areas we need to focus on. And the best part of this council is not just limited to the information security officers representing from the multinational companies as well as the global delivery companies, the likes of Tata Consultancy to Infosys to Wipro and others. But we also have a representation from educational institutions like NALSA, ISB, IIIT, and other organizations that have got a large presence here. And last but not least is a combination of the central government organizations, IDRBT, we have got NPCI, and we also have got the central organization that is related to risk management, IIRM. And all these are present right in the city. Hyderabad has many firsts. This is going to be one of those great opportunities for us to bring the CISO Council, the platform for those passionate individuals who are knowledgeable, they're already supporting their organizations to come together and help make our environment more safer from the cyber fraud and the cyber security standpoint. There are few areas we have focused, we debated and discussed, and we focused on what is required for the current Cyber Bureau as well as the Center of Excellence organization. You can see that on the slide for those who are already holding a brochure. It is there in the brochure also. The first one is on enhancing the cybersecurity hygiene and resilience. And for us to do that, we need to create the kind of collaboration between the industry that's already solving the problems for the corporates to the challenges that we are receiving from various fronts. You heard from Stephen Ravindra Garu, that there is a number to call, 1930, and many a times people are not aware of it. So there is a lot of focus that is already set up by the government to increase that awareness around, and for us to focus on how do we make sure that we are resilient. If the problem is surfaced from one organization, how do we share this information at a pace where the rest of the organizations will also know, and they will put the right alert into the system. It could be community, it could be educational institutions, it could be hospitals, it could be hotels, or it could be any of the MSME organizations where they may be limited by the resources, particularly in this area. The second one is facilitating information sharing and standardization. And we look for a platform to share the information, and sometimes we are limited by what we can share, what we cannot share. So we are looking at ways to ensure that this council can actually use this as a platform to share that information. You might be thinking, what are the various ways to do it? Apart from using the social media, can we create an environment where people can share this information more in the real time is an opportunity for us to focus on. The next is on the incident response and mitigation. You heard this also, our CPs are covering these details, that when an incident happens, how fast we can respond so that we can ensure that this challenge that an individual or organization faced can be stopped for the rest of the organizations. It's almost like that we talk from the health standpoint. When somebody is hit with a heart attack, how fast we can respond, it is that golden hour if we can take care of that. The same thing is true when it comes to cyber fraud, and how do we do that collectively is an opportunity we are looking at, how fast we can respond to the incidents. And sometimes the threats are so unique, we may not be able to find the problem in one go. So we need a collective intelligence to bring that information together. The next is on the influence of policy and regulations. We have a policy, but this is one thing where we cannot just write a policy and wait for years. We have to constantly go back and revisit the policy, especially when it comes to the cyber fraud and the cyber security related. So that's the fourth one. The last two are related to awareness. In fact, Madhu is there somewhere here. And then Praveen, who is a part of our team. The two non-profit organizations, international non-profit organizations, ISACA and ISC Square, are very much focused on improving the awareness across various fronts, the individuals as well as the corporates. We are going to partner to ensure that the awareness is not just limited to the IT or the non-IT organizations, but also to the public. So that way it can reach to the individuals, and sometimes the threat is not just you, but probably the weakest link in the family who may not be knowing how to utilize their phone very effectively. And the last but not least is, how do we ensure that the law enforcement associations are getting the right support from the council? In fact, if I were to ask CP sir, he might ask me to put this bullet to the top, because that is exactly the opportunity we are looking at on how do we bring all of this together. Before I hand over to Abhishek, who is going to run you through some of the details along with Ram, I just wanted to close with a comment that when it's first of the kind, I'm sure it's going to take some time to really shape a model like this. But however, we firmly believe that, as Steve Jobs always said, if we have the passion, we can get it done. And all we need is the right kind of vision to be able to. We already have the right vision, and this particular organization and the city has already put so many firsts in place. As a part of the SCSC organization, I am personally confident that the council and the extended council members will bring a complete different perspectives around how we can address this effectively. I can see that with many of our council members from different cities traveling just to be a part of this event today. So having said that, over to you, Abhishek and Ram, to cover the updates.
Good afternoon. So my name is Abhishek, and we have Ram with me here. So while CP sir and Ramesh has set the stage and the context, we'll take you through a little more details. But before that, October is a great month for doing this, because October is the World Cybersecurity Awareness Month. So this is perhaps the right month to kind of launch a organization like this. So this, as we've been kind of ideating through this council, obviously we've just started. There's a long way to go, and we'll learn in the process and kind of figure out all the tooling, all the mechanism, all the processes that we need to set up. But upfront, we have come up with some framework, which is what we wanted to give you a glimpse of, and then kind of join forces with you as we move in this journey. So our aspiration is that as we move ahead, we run this organization just like any large mature organization would be doing it. We want to leverage industry standards, industry regulation, well-established industry frameworks, and obviously this is an effort which has been there for quite some time. And there are well-known industry standards like NIST, RMF, which is risk management framework. So we want to adopt practices from there as we kind of build this team and this kind of function. So this over here on your screen is just a glimpse of the framework that we are going to use, which some of you may be familiar with who are from this industry and have been kind of implementing it in your own organization. So that is one aspect. But then if you take a slightly deeper look as to how any kind of cybersecurity function in your organization or in any other larger organization work, it will typically have different teams, different units with subject matter experts to tackle different types of challenges that you face, right? So we if you look at it as a flow, right, we start from kind of identifying what do we need to protect, right, and kind of securing that first. And then we move into a stage whereby we implement different tools and technologies to detect anything which is going wrong, potential attacks, things like that. And then we also develop capabilities whereby we can respond to it, kind of mitigate this, and recover from it. So today we live in a world where security breaches are very much possible. So it's very difficult to make yourself completely immune to that. So it's not a question of whether, but when. And when that incident happens, it becomes very important that we are able to recover from that and we are resilient, right? So we should be able to minimize damage and things like that. So these are, this framework that you see is basically a conceptual view of different types of functional units that we will establish. We will establish functional units whereby we want to build, things like security checklists, guidelines, which maybe larger organizations have already implemented, but there could be many MSME kind of organizations or many new organizations or new incubations which may need help with. So we want to build a kind of a catalog of these kind of guidelines. We also want to build a SOC-like capability, Security Operations Center. Many of you might have heard about it, right? So SOC is basically a team which is monitoring for attacks and is able to detect anything which is wrong in your environment, right? So we want to build capabilities like that. You will hear terminologies like blue teaming, red teaming. These are all industry standard functions, but we want to be able to build capabilities like that along with industry partnership and extend it to organizations, government organizations and private organizations who may need help, right? And finally, a big kind of aspiration of ours is to be able to share threat intelligence, right? So for example, if my organization was suffering from an incident, and if I have some insight, I should be able to share with the community and they should be able to benefit from that. So we also want to build platforms like that. Obviously, this will be a multi-year journey because it's quite complex, there are many technologies which will be involved. And then it's one thing to do it in your own organization, but doing it for the community requires a different kind of approach, right? How do you build it so that people can tap into it? Both contribute to it as well as leverage it, right? So this will definitely be a journey, but we just wanted to share kind of a high-level view of what we are thinking. And we will partner with many of the organizations and individuals here to be able to build this further. I'll just request Ram to also throw some light on this.
Thank you, Abhishek. So the idea here is not to recreate anything which is already there. It is just creating a platform by the industry for the industry kind of a move. Because we have seen recently, which CP sir also has mentioned, in the cases where this G20 event is happening, or otherwise in the cases where we also have done with the Center of Excellence in the hosted in Cyberabad, we have done a survey with starting with certain pharma companies, and we identified that there is very poor cyber hygiene when it comes to MSMEs. And while the same attacker, who attacks big MNCs, which can afford to spend and also afford to contain them, but the same kind of attacker and the same kind of attacks, they are also being targeted to the same MSMEs. So how we can create this platform where the collective knowledge and also building that expertise can be leveraged by the industry is something that we have been deliberating with many industry leaders who have been here already, and we had quite debates on this, how we should structure this, and we have come up with this just as a base framework. It's not that there is something as fixed and all. It's just that we just wanted to lay out some idea as to what we are envisioning, so that we wanted to you all to come and deliberate and also discuss on how we can improvise this and address the real challenges that we are seeing on a day-to-day basis. And also on the other side, there are few areas where law enforcement can be of real help. And particularly when it comes to going after the criminal, which normally any of the industry that we see, the primary objective is to contain it. Unless it is a nation state actors, it is always containing and mitigating it. But every such attack has a crime behind, and every crime has a criminal behind. And unless that criminal is brought to prosecution and investigation and further to justice, so there is no way that attack surface is getting reduced. With that notion, we formed this as a platform. And one of the things that also we are consistently seeing as part of this ecosystem is, it's just that there's one initiative which is already fitting into the existing ecosystem of, if you can just go to, yeah. So we already have Telangana State Cybersecurity Bureau, which current CPO Cyberabad sir is also heading, and that is just formed this year, and which is a proper government organization which has mandate of both cyber crimes and also cyber security. And then we also have Telangana State Police COE for cyber safety, which is being launched by KTR sir last December. And in a way, this CISO Council, through this, we are trying to enable the cyber security aspect of the COE, which we are trying to see how we can actually leverage the industry, since we have a very great ecosystem in this region, and that is what we are trying to envision as part of this initiative. And this is how we are foreseeing it. We have SCSC and also our COE, which is also PPP model. And then CISO Council is a kind of part of our COE initiative, which further collaborates with our IT department of the state, and also wherever required, we'll also collaborate with certain. And also in the other side, we also wanted to be this unit of CISO Council will also try to enable the cyber security aspect of the bureau as well, is our larger vision. So in this regard, I would urge you, if you have any kind of suggestions or ideas in this regard, we are more than happy. There's just a few people deliberations just brought this. I am sure with these many people in the audience, we can do a lot more. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you very much. Next, what I'll do is, it's really critical that as we move forward, the industry is sort of also participating in this, because this is going to benefit the law enforcement, the citizen at large, plus also the industry. So there is a lot of learnings that we get back from the industry, but there's also a lot of give back to the industry. So we have two industry solvers here, and I would request them to come and share their views on the CISO Council. First, I'll call upon Sridhar Sidhu, who's the CISO for Wells Fargo, and he's come down all the way from Bangalore. So Sridhar, why don't you come, talk a few words? Yeah, I'll give you the mic. Next, we'll also have Suvabrata Sinha, who's the global CISO for NXP Semiconductor. He'll also be sort of sharing his views. Sridhar, over to you.
Both are coming together?
Yeah, no, you go first.
All right. First of all, thank you for the opportunity. While currently I work out of Bangalore, this is where I started my technology career in the city. So I'm happy to contribute to whatever small way that I can do to enable all the knowledge and experience that we gain through our commercial activities, whatever we can do for, So whatever we can do with our collective experience of decades with our industry partners to the safety and security of the people of Telangana state is actually a privilege. And along with my colleagues across the industries, we are happy to be here and happy to support. As Abhishek and also Ram were saying, right? Every cybercrime has got a criminal behind it, and what we know through our intel gathering exercises, mostly we deal with nation-state actors being a multinational organizations, but we don't get to actually bring them to justice. We only can provide information. So the two-way thing that we're talking about, whatever information that we can provide to the law enforcement agencies to bring them to justice is a very, very crucial part. And anything that we can do to contribute in this sector is welcome, and we'll bring our full force from our organizations to support this initiative. So with that, I'll turn it to Subha. Thanks.
Thank you, Sridhar. And as they say, you can take Hyderabad out of Hyderabad, but you can't take Hyderabad out of a Hyderabadi. Right? So I've been to school here, college here, worked in Hyderabad for almost 20 years. So Hyderabadi. Right? But in all honesty, when I was in school, my headmaster used to say that a trusted and close relationship between citizens, industry, and law enforcement is the only sign of a healthy and safe society. Everything else are just symbols. And this forum that has been set up here, I think it is a unique and very effective organization and a mechanism to help each other and make the society safer and healthier. I think it will give a great opportunity to work jointly, work collaboratively, share insight, as Ramesh shared with us. Because after all, cybercrime affects us all. Many citizens, including my family, they think cybercrime only happens in my office and it does not affect them at all. And that's not true. So it affects us all, and the more we work to help each other, the better the life of our citizens will become. Lastly, this trend of close collaboration between industry, citizens, and law enforcement is already a trend across the world. In different countries, these forums are being set up, some formally, some informally, but every country is trying to do the same thing. And I think it is kudos to this organization to probably be the first in India to set up a formal structure in the forum. And in closing, I can think of no better and no more fulfilling way to contribute back to the state that has given me so much. And on my part, I know that what I think I bring to the table are the many scars of my day-to-day struggle as a CISO. And I'm sure there will be many examples that I can share of how to do things well and how not to do things at all, which I think is probably an equal and important part of the whole journey. And of course, I know that I will probably learn as much, if not more, than what I give into it. And with that, I want to thank the government of Telangana for once again being a pioneer in this great initiative, and the Cyberabad CP sir, and the entire law enforcement community for being open to this idea and for really working hard to make this forum happen. So look forward to a very, very productive partnership. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. So as a next activity, we're going to sort of formally unveil the CISO core team, that will be really awesome.
If you look at the logo, there are 10 stars there. They indicate the various organizations that are going to partner with us and already partnered with us. That could be the BFSI sector, the telecom sector, the manufacturing sector, the pharma. You're talking about the hospitality sector. And the last star is actually the citizens. So those are the 10 stars. And of course, the share has blocked 4 circles on the bottom. That is actually the, now you can see it. That's the Cyber Bureau, the Government of Telangana, and of course the TSPCC and the SCSC coming together. That covers the entire law enforcement CISO council. Thanks to Sashi, if he's somewhere here, for putting a beautiful logo for us and using this as a platform. We hope to bring all of the information security leaders across India to come together and help us on this.
Thank you very much. I'll request Jayashanjan Garu to sort of give a stay back and address the audience, please.
Thank you very much. Respected DGP Sir, Shri Anjani Kumarji, Cyberabad CP, my friend Stephen, senior police officers, technology leaders, all the CISOs representing different organizations, invitees, guests, members of the media. I know that this is a serious occasion, but I cannot avoid commenting that this looks like the logo of some European football club. Even the name is like this, La CISO. So if you don't patent it, tomorrow you may find some football club using this. And also that lighthouse kind of thing, it's all very European. But nevertheless, but coming back to serious stuff, first of all, my congratulations to CP Cyberabad, the entire police department and the industry fraternity. This is something which we theoretically talk about, that PPP is the best model, PPP is the way things should be charted out. But this is a real example of how the best of police, the best of private sector, the best of academia, the best of government is coalescing together. We all know that cyber crimes, cyber security breaches have multiplied manifold. Citizens are obviously at the biggest risk because new generation of users, new generation of cyber users are coming forward. As all of us know, of the next billion users that will start using the internet, the majority will come from a country like India. Many of them would be using devices for the first time ever. Obviously, most of them will not speak English. They'll be kind of at a disadvantage because many of the instructions, etc., which are commonly available in English, will not be familiar with them. So as it is, citizens are at a disadvantage. And we have seen so many instances of citizens getting scammed, fraud. Even educated kind of people are running the risk of facing some kind of cyber crime, etc. But more than them, the enterprises are at real risk. In fact, I recall our minister tells this episode very frequently when he speaks in any cybersecurity event. But I was also present when this happened. So since he's not there, I can share this. We were in New York and we had an appointment to meet Mr. Ajay Banga, who at that time was the president of MasterCard. He's now the president of World Bank, as many of you would know. So we were trying to ask him how much of I mean, is there any possibility of getting some work done in Hyderabad, in Telangana? That is one of the important priorities for us, to get as many companies as possible to our state. And while we were talking, the issue came to cyber threats, cyber security, and in this conversation he let out that on an average day, the database of MasterCard attempts are made at least 10,000 times to hack it. And on a bad day, this can go up to 30,000, 40,000 attempts also. So we automatically asked that how much of your preventive work, your kind of security work is done in India, because as you know, India is the flavor in the US, lots of work gets done here. But he pointed out that we do so many other things in India, but not cyber security, because that atmosphere where we can openly share, we can discuss, we can get support is still not there. So as one of the speakers pointed out, the trust factor, this is what he was hinting at, that we just don't have that atmosphere of trust where people can come up and share and discuss and talk about the patterns of risk and attacks and things like that, so that if you have suffered once, at least you ensure that 20 others don't suffer the same fate. So obviously this platform which is getting created, the CISO Council, the LE CISO Council, will plug that gap. And the other important thing, of course, other speakers have pointed out, this sharing is very, very important. See, the way enterprises get targeted these days is most obviously through ransomware. That has become a big, big menace, and very little of that gets reported. So when you showed that India has only 13% of share of attacks, it looks highly kind of underreported. My guess is that India will be more than Korea also. And one of the reasons, of course, is there is a public shame also to admit that I left my systems vulnerable, someone found a breach and they were able to get in. And I had to pay so much of ransom and all that. But more than that, again, is this issue that whom do I tell? Even if I tell, will anything happen? And that kind of community is not there. So sharing that information is very important. I would like to mention that there is a global initiative of getting all such incidents compiled at one place, which has been started by Verizon, this US telecom company called Verizon. They publish an incident report annually, and we are the subscribers to it, so we have access to it. And I'll be very happy to pass it on to the CISO Council, to Cyberabad Commissioner, and to the Cybersecurity Bureau. Whatever it is worth, they do give detailed analysis of what kind of attacks happened and what kind of vulnerabilities were exposed, and so on and so forth. There are a few suggestions for this council, which I would like to kind of openly mention. There are 4 suggestions. So one suggestion is that, of course, in your vision, your mission, your objectives also, you have alluded to it, that instead of reinventing the wheel, you will integrate other existing institutions and bodies into your activity. So I would like to also point out that there are 3 important institutions which we have promoted. IT department of the Telangana government have promoted. So please work with them. One, of course, is the SOC, the Security Operations Center. The SOC, of course, the current mandate of SOC is just to monitor any kind of threat, any kind of incident on government database. We don't work with enterprises, but SOC is quite effective. We have the latest incidents monitoring tools, and touch wood in the last 9 years, I don't want to disclose publicly, but very, very important infrastructure, cyber infrastructure of other state governments have been impacted, have been kind of felt or targeted. We have not seen even one single instance of that kind. So that is the proof that our SOC is working quite well. But obviously, as I said, it does not cover private sector, private enterprises, but whatever tools they use, whatever methods they follow. You spoke about SOPs in your presentation. So it is there, and I'll be very happy to make it accessible to this council as well. The second important institution is the Cybersecurity Center of Excellence, which we run along with the Data Security Council of India. Some of you would be aware that Data Security Council of India is the affiliate of NASSCOM. So NASSCOM is the umbrella organization for the IT companies, and its data security arm is called DSCI. So this is something very unique because DSCI has created the Center of Excellence in partnership with Telangana government 5 years ago. Since 2018, the Center of Excellence is working, and of course, some of you are familiar with what they do. So please look at partnering with them also, since awareness, etc. Yeah, Dr. Shriram, I see him in the audience. So please stay back and interact with key people here. And I'll tell, when I speak later, I'll tell one or two things which they can actually bring on the table. The third institution is not yet ready. It is a work in progress, which is having our own CERT, CERT, the Computer Emergency Response Team. The Government of India has one, CERT in, and they have a regional office in Bangalore. We want to start a state-specific CERT called T-CERT, which we are working on. I mean, it should have happened a few months earlier, but unfortunately, it's getting kind of prolonged. But it will be up and running in a few months from now. So please integrate and incorporate T-CERT also in your activity. So one suggestion is, of course, to work with all these existing institutions. The other is to work with startups also. See, today, if you are obviously familiar, lots of innovative thinking, lots of very agile kind of product development, tool development is coming from the world of startups. So many enterprises may be engaging with startups by having their own challenges, by having their own hackathons, but the Cybersecurity Center of Excellence can actually help you. In fact, right now also, they are running a cohort of 40 startups who are currently looking at different aspects of product development. They have 2-3 areas of specialization. IoT security, devices security are some of the things that they have specialized in. So, for example, you are from NXP. So some of the work that you do will be it will be well aligned with what many of the startups are doing. The other good community to work with is the community of hackers. So when we talk about hackers, the thinking immediately goes to the criminals who are targeting you and all. But there is also a community of ethical hackers, people who do it just to kind of prove their knowledge, that they are able to identify some vulnerability, they found some hole in your code and they were able to breach it. But they do it with a good intention, they bring it to your knowledge, and if you appreciate that, that is good enough for them. I mean, sometimes they expect some reward, like the bounty hunter programs and all that. You can give some reward if you wish to, but largely it is it's an activity where you kind of do this for recognition's sake. And we do know of at least half a dozen of the top ethical hackers. We have engaged them in the past, and we'll be very happy to make them available to the CISO Council. The third suggestion which I have is to also take help from us to forge international collaborations. See, today, as all of us know, internet does not have any boundaries. I mean, internet pervades all over. There is no distinction between one country and another country. Problems are the same. Solutions which are applicable in one geography can easily work in another geography also. We have forged some partnership, and the strongest partnership and the most enduring partnership that we have forged is with the government of Netherlands. As you know, in the world, one of the strongest cybersecurity clusters is in the city of Hague, the Dutch city of Hague. So we have a long-standing MOU with them, and it's a nice coincidence that we are meeting today, because just yesterday we had we run a joint program with them, which is called the Cybersecurity School, Indo-Dutch Cybersecurity School, and the 6th edition of this school was launched yesterday. The Dutch ambassador, the Indian ambassador to Netherlands, the Dutch cybersecurity roaming ambassador, myself, various other domain experts, they were there. And this is a partnership which pervades many other areas also, including joint product development, research, and so on and so forth. Hague, as you would know, is also a very important center for law, because the international courts are located there. There are lots of legal firms who work on cyber. We are taking actually their help I'll share that development also with you, whether a state-specific cyber crime law can be created. See, right now we operate under IPC. I mean, of course, these have some Hindi names now. I don't know what is the name for IPC, what is the name for CRPC. Some Bhartiya Sanhita, whatever. And we have our own IT law, but whatever it is, we are also exploring, can the state have its own law, so that more teeth is available to the investigation agencies, the prevention agencies, to be very ruthless on some of these criminals. So that kind of work is happening through this international partnership. But there are many other opportunities also. We have a good rapport with cybersecurity agencies in Israel, in UK, in the US, and whatever is actually available with us, we'll be very happy to connect this council also to that kind of thing. But on the whole, this is a very, very nice initiative, and I feel very proud that Cyberabad Police, it has so many laurels in their feather already. And as was pointed out, this is the first initiative of its kind in the country. So it really should make all of us very proud that we are all a part of it. And today on this milestone day, when it is getting launched, we have the privilege of being here. So once again, congratulations to DGP Sir, CP Cyberabad, and all the senior police officers and all the industry stalwarts for making this a reality. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Sir, if you can sort of stay back up, we'll have a little memento for the inauguration. Abhishek, can you please hand over the momentum to sir? Next, I'll request DGP sir to please come in and share his views.
When Abhishek, I think, mentioned that October is the month for cyber safety, I was reminded of an incident not many months ago, when a colleague of mine informed me that he has lost about 5 lakh rupees, so something should be done immediately. I said, what happened? So he said that one of his senior colleague sent him a message that he requires some urgent money, can you send some? And he deposited 5 lakh rupees. So I said, where were you then? He said, I was just coming out of a seminar on cyber safety. So, why I said this? Because sometimes those who handle the subject, they take it a little casually. And it has happened in other professions. In the early 19th century, 1840, 1830s, there was something called sudden death of mothers in Europe, in which young mothers after delivery, within 24 hours or sometimes within 50, 60 hours, they were dying. And it continued for almost 20 years. In the process, by one estimate, more than 20,000 women died. Despite an article in a journal that it was because of lack of proper sanitizing their hands and all. It took almost 20 years for them to realize. And the death was so much that the same doctors were doing surgery in the morning, delivering baby, and the same doctors were doing post-mortem for those people who had died in the evening. And they were not doing the cleaning of the equipments and all. So though they were professionals, experts, but sometimes problem happens in such a way that we need to have a different look at an existing problem to solve it. So we should be also very, very careful. Friends, when Telangana is called the brightest star in the country, it is not just because the ecosystem has come out of the political leadership, that so many new things are happening and there is a fertile ground for it. But it also has happened because there are good bright stars here. And in this hall, I would cite two such bright stars. One is Jayesh Ranjan, other is Stephen Ravindra. If you have seen today's newspaper, I think today's or yesterday, today's newspaper, Cyberabad police returned 2.2 crore rupees of amount to people who were victim of cyber fraud. This is perhaps first of its kind in the country, because to circumvent or to cross the various hurdles of criminal justice system, it is not so easy. And despite that, it has happened, and now it will be further fine-tuned so that a proper SOP can be developed, and all the districts, not only districts, and I'm sure it would be replicated in other states also. So that shows that yes, that concern to do something despite the constraint has to be there to develop. Similarly, what should I say about Jayesh? I said the other day, last week, about him when he had come from abroad and we had read about what all agreement has been signed. Then I said that perhaps he upgrades himself faster than Apple upgrades the new iOS. So without such luminaries, things will not move. And we all have assembled here because somebody is connecting us. Somebody is connecting us. The other day when Satya had come to Microsoft and I think Subodh was making a presentation, somebody asked me, is Subodh here? Somebody asked me, is he a police officer? So the way he was presenting, the domain knowledge of him about policing was more than most of the police officers. And that is the flexibility, that is the adaptability of the industry, the IT industry, which we have in Hyderabad, and that is why we consider ourselves really too blessed. And when so many things are there, a result has to be spectacular. This is one of them. When we are having the first enforcement-related CISO council in Hyderabad, in India, I am sure we are going to show the way for other states. Friends, as somebody mentioned, the definition of crime has been changing very fast. But never in the history it has changed so drastically as it has changed now because of the cyber crime. The fathers of the Indian Penal Code and the other laws, they had defined all the crime to its jurisdiction. Banjara Hill Police Station has a jurisdiction. Madhapur Police Station has a jurisdiction. It is defined a geography. But now it has no meaning. When cyber crime has come, a person sitting in a remote village in Jamtara or Mewat or Eastern Europe can commit hundredth crime for anybody anywhere in the world. So when so much of vastness of jurisdiction has come now for criminals, imagine the challenges before us. And that is why when the slide was presented that the third GDP is cyber crime, when $8 trillion is lost, I would appeal to all the heavyweights here, when you are the third GDP, look into yourself and say how much amount you are spending for safety and security. How important it is now. We cannot take it lightly by just putting some token amount here and there. It is going to be a serious business, and it is going to be with us forever, perhaps in a more complex way. That is why maybe after 5 years from now, we will realize that these were very humble beginnings. We have to travel a long way. I really compliment each one of you for us getting associated with this, and particularly Stephen, the Cyberabad Security Council, for this wonderful initiative. My best wishes to all of you.
Sir, if you can sort of stay back, just take we request give you a memento. Okay. Praveen from Isaka.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so thank
Thank you very much, everybody. I'll now call upon Ramesh to sort of take over the mic. We'll open the floor for a few question and answers. If you have any question and answers on how this will operate, how this will function, how the CISO Council will work, how the governance structure is set up. So I'll sort of take Ramesh to sort of take some
Set
questions.
aside a few minutes just to hear from you of any questions while all the leaders are here.
I'm Kurmanath. I'm a senior deputy editor with the Hindu Business Line. I write on cyber security heavily. Congratulations, Ramesh and others in the team. This is a wonderful initiative. I would like to know what will be the basic governance framework, how you are going to roll it out.
Can you pull up the slide? Actually, there is one slide we did not cover. That's the exact person that has come.
And no, before you explain that, on a lighter vein, on the logo, media should be one of the stars or circles.
The bigger circle is you, sir.
We'll certainly take that input into account. So, for the benefit of audience, and a great question actually, we have an advisory board followed by an executive committee and an operational unit. On the advisory board side, the responsibility of this board is to provide direction. You can call that as a vision, what kind of areas we need to focus on, and things are dramatically changing in this area. We think that we know how to resolve it. By the time we realize it, a new fraud happens and we don't even realize that it has come and hit us. So there should be a way to ensure that we will seek the advisory board members from across the country as well as from outside the country, because things happening outside of India, if we know it through this board, we can bring it back to fruition much faster. So that's the advisory board. On the executive committee, it's a combination of the Information Security Council members. You also heard that we have representation from the Data Security Council of India, we have representation from the educational institutions who are probably teaching the policy, example NALSER and others. So we will ensure that the committee is focused on areas we need to focus, any directional changes we need to do, and most important is how do we bring the processes that are already existing in place for a better collaboration. And I will probably connect the dots that you heard this from JSG, that there are 3-4 things that he's asking the team to connect on. The first one is, how do we ensure that the current IT departments, SOC and other functions that are already running, how do we bring that to the connection here? Invention is not the focus, how do we collaborate is the focus. That's what the executive committee is going to focus on. The lastly, the operational unit, we have got a center of excellence, we got a bureau, and we realize that there is always, it's not the question of staff being shortchanged, it's a question of a process and a related work activity missing in the place. So we are going to seek the help of various extended council members. These are leaders who are already working in the industry at various roles, be it whether they are working on the identity access management side to threat management to probably doing quite a bit of R&D work around. We are going to seek their help to come and form a part of the operational unit, and we'll see how to actually divide their time to seek the support, whether it's an incident management issue that we have got, and somebody can actually chime in and support, and all that will happen on the operational unit side. So this is the first step. Obviously, we will revisit this from time to time to see how we can make this process better. Otherwise, it's a great question. Thank you. That's the only slide we did not cover in detail.
Thank you.
Thanks for bringing it up.
Any other questions, comments? Yeah, there's one there.
Rajesh?
Hi Ramesh, congratulations on the launch of CISO. I think coming on the heels of the launch of the Society for Cyber Security Council, it's setting really the pace. My question is, 1 year down the line, when you're celebrating the first anniversary, what would be the success metrics to say that, we've done, it's been a good job done?
You put me on the spot, Rajesh.
Ramesh, welcome to working with the corporate world.
So, let me actually try attempting the answer for this. Obviously, I'm going to seek the help of Ram and Abhishek, of course, Gaurav is here. I think the first opportunity is by the time we complete 1 year, right? So the first opportunity is if we were to celebrate something like this, you'll probably see a much stronger bonding between data sharing as well as the kind of problems that we are hearing, how it is being addressed collectively. So that means we'll have to bring the solution to a larger audience to share it. So we'll find ways to make that happen through this particular council. That's probably the first one. The second one I would probably say is awareness. Many a times you heard this from our DGP sir, that somebody coming out of a Cyberabad, a cyber summit kind of activity even fell prey to this fraud, right? So many a times we don't realize that the fraud is happening until the time we become the victims. So whether it is the IT fraternity or the community or the educational institutions, if we can ensure that the awareness actually spreads, we can prevent a lot of the things, especially in terms of prevention versus actually the detection. That's probably you will see a lot of focus and probably a progression there. The third, you actually heard this from our CP sir, that many a times the work we are doing currently today is probably not even brought to the right kind of platforms. So we'll take the help of media, we'll take the help of all the related organizations to ensure that a quarterly report is published so that you will see the progress that we are making every quarter.
So I'll add a little bit to Ramesh.
Go ahead. Yeah, last but not the least, 1 year down the lane, we'll definitely go after these criminals who are behind the ransomware, okay? So we will give you something tangible. We'll make sure that we'll go after the criminals and bring them to book and dispense justice. So that is one tangible thing that we can deliver.
So I was actually going to touch upon that. I think to start with, in the very first few months, I think our success measure would be how many people join this mission. Like, it's very important that we have the partnerships. It's very important that we find from the community some purpose in doing this. And if we can get started and start the ball rolling and people, associate with themselves with us and start contributing, I think that's the first milestone. Then obviously one other thing that we definitely look forward to is how many incidents are getting reported. Like if that is still not happening, then either we are doing very well in terms of securing, or perhaps that trust which we talked about has not been built. So some of these things will be there. But I think we'll learn in the process and build our success metrics also as we kind of move ahead.
I think the only thing that I want to also add is that while we are growing as an economy, there's a lot of focus on manufacturing, and unfortunately, the whole security aspect between operational technology layer and the IT layer, which is the IT/OT security as they call it, is fairly weak. The understanding of that is weak. So one of the other things that we will also do is, as we continue to build our frameworks and educating the industry and also the MSME sector, which is sort of putting a lot of money back into the manufacturing sector as well. Educate them and then train them around the whole fact of manufacturing security as well, and not only the IT layer, right, which obviously gets talked about because it is always accessible to all of us on our mobile phones and things like that, right? So that is sort of the other layer which we will also contribute.
Yeah, just to add to that, what others have said. So I'll just reiterate what KTR sir has told when he came to COE. One of the things that which etched in my mind, and since day one, our CP sir has been reiterating, is that institutions trust individuals. And since I come from earlier, I used to work with the Sun government body TRU. So we do redo a lot of things. If you see many of the agencies that we have many institutions in the country which are doing the same thing. So one metric I would really work towards is, if you can institutionalize, even within the what Jay sir has said, even within the institutions that are in Telangana, if we can build out a working operation model where irrespective of people, if they can work flawlessly between institutions, between industries, between this CISO council and the COE, that is one ideal metric I would like to see in 1 year.
And Rajesh, we look for more volunteers from London Stock Exchange.
Good evening, Ramesh. So myself, PCS Reddy, thanks to SCSC, which gave me an opportunity to get connected with the industry in a bigger way. So, and thanks to Bharini Garu, who has organized annual conclaves, cybersecurity annual conclaves. So we have learned so many things from there. So one input to word of Abhishek I would like to say is, I can be of lot of use to CISO, because a couple of companies have approached me for training part, for funding part, or setting up a forensic lab in cybersecurity like that. So I can be of any help 24/7. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Ramesh, in cybersecurity awareness, there are 4 basic components. One of the things that you guys should adopt and spread the word is how to stay safe online, okay? And how to safely use the public Wi-Fi network. And also, we call it digital spring cleaning. So what we do is, in US, in several of our companies, we clean up our digital data with changing passwords, with complicated passwords. So there are so many, and privacy online, how safe it is. So these are 4 components in cybersecurity awareness that we always practice. And I think that's very critical to spread that word amongst all the citizens, but that's very critical.
I'm sure Madhu and Praveen heard this loud and clear. And opportunity starts from that levels to all the way to how the IT companies are operating today. Certainly take that into account. Thank you very much.
To add to Ramesh and even Gaurav was talking about awareness. So we are working on a challenge called Mission 1 Million. So me, Ramesh and Madhu, we are trying to figure out something, and we want to raise awareness to 1 million people over a period of time. So I think that could be one of our key areas as well.
Okay, great. Thank you, Praveen.
Namaste, Andy. I'm Narsimha from CyberPeace. The one thing that always touches the heart is the trust, right? Building the trust among the partners and collaboration is always the key for the success. From CyberPeace, we would like to extend our helping hand for the awareness part, and also there are some books which we have already created on the CBSE website. You can find it, and also NCRT. We have done that, and also we are going to cover around 9 million people in the coming days with respect to misinformation and fake information. And definitely we can all collaborate and be in this mission. Thank you.
Glad to hear. Okay, one last question. Praveena.
Well, congratulations first. And this question is on behalf of many women that are still in that list of very, lots of inhibitions to even report. There's lots of content that goes online, and I would say that, we probably will be the last one to even report, let alone the awareness piece. So would be very interested to see if there is any specific focus in this, which is in alignment with the other organizations that are part of it, and if they can bring some efforts to the light and bring it to closer to the communities. Because one thing that I think I saw one of the slides which had the different, industry governing bodies and all, it missed the community piece. Although there is a NGOs listed there, but where are we actually touching the community is something what I would like to see or hear.
Anyone else want to touch on that? Women's safety and quality.
As far as women's safety is concerned, we have a specific vertical in the Cybersecurity Bureau, which actually gets intelligence about how women or child they are harassed online. For instance, we get regular tip lines about the child, if it comes to child porn or child pornography. We do get a lot of inputs about the people who are actually creating these videos or images. We also have inputs about who are transmitting this. We also have inputs about whether somebody is downloading and sharing it in different chat rooms. So we are going after those people who are doing it in an organized scale. So as far as children is concerned, that we're taking care. The same applies to women too. So there are two ways in which you can report your cyber, if you're prone to cyber fraud. One is 1930. That is a generic hotline where you can just dial and just get your cases registered. The other one is, if you are not a victim of cyber crimes, there is one number, please note down, 8712672222. 8712672222. This is a number where we have created something like a cyber fraud registry. So for instance, if you are not a victim but you come across malicious links, malicious content, or malicious URLs, or malicious phone numbers, or any malicious website or anything, you can just report it on the CFR. What we have done is, on a daily basis now, we get about not less than 25 reportings done on this CFR, and we go very aggressively and take them down. So as far as women is concerned, yes, if you come across a malicious link which really offends you, this is the number in which you can reach out to us. Okay? Thank you.
Great. Thank you. And as a closing, I would like to ask all the CISO Council members to stay put along with the EC members. We'd like to have a picture together with our guests. Thank you for joining us today. It's an absolute pleasure. Okay. So we do have tea.